You're watching Central Illinois on the Record.
All right, welcome back to Central Illinois on the Record. I'm joined by Tim McGraw, the CEO of Revolution Enterprises, and Thomas Wolf, a Marine Corps veteran. So you two are joining me today because some legislation cleared the General Assembly that expands the state's medical marijuana pilot program. It's something we've been talking about for almost a year now. We met in July of last year talking about the medical marijuana pilot program and how it was just starting to take off after a couple of years of just kind of sitting around and not having any patients or anything like that. But a pretty big step the last couple of weeks. What happened?
Well, we got past the politics of it. What happened was we got Republicans and Democrats together, and they were actually able to work on a bill together for once. There was only 7 pieces of legislation that passed this session, and cannabis was one of them. And that's almost solely due to the fact that our leader Jim Durkin got involved and acted as an advocate and negotiated this along with Lou Lang and other Republican leaders like Tim Butler. So it was really a collaboration between the administration. So we want to first off thank Governor Rauner for working with Leader Lang and Leader Durkin to get this legislation passed. And we hope that his signature comes here in the next few days. But it was an amazing collaboration between Democrats and Republicans is why it got passed.
But it wasn't easy. The governor was reluctant to add ailments to the pilot program, among them PTSD, which once he signs the bill is going to be included.
Oh yeah, it's a game changer. It's going to save lives, lots of lives. Hopefully we can expedite the signing and get it to PTSD, or get cannabis to PTSD patients as soon as possible. But yeah, it's going to help quite a few people, or thousands of people in Illinois.
And Thomas, you included.
Yes, sir. I've seen multiple brothers and sisters in arms suffering from PTSD alone and not getting the help they need. And I think that this getting passed, it's going to save lives. It's going to get them off the alcohol, the opiates, the benzos. I think benzos are more addictive than opiates. And that's just what leads to harder stuff, and that's what leads to 22 a day. 22 vets a day commit suicide. And it's because
there's one in 5 vets has PTSD, and that's a low number, as Thomas would.
Yes, I believe it's higher than 1 in 5. That's just a low count. I know countless brothers I've served with that are undocumented or don't want to speak up because there's almost a stigma with PTSD. People think there's something wrong with them and they can't be helped. But medical marijuana, it'll help 10 times better than all these opiates and benzos, and it's saving lives.
Well, it's got to be difficult too because in the military, I mean, you're the best of the best. You're kind of at the top of the heap, and then to come home and to suffer from PTSD and to be basically debilitated but not necessarily have any physical ailments has to be incredibly difficult.
It every day makes your skin feels like it's crawling. When I first got home back out of the Marine Corps in 2013, I looked at civilians like caged animals, and you feel alienated.
And the only answer that we give vets right now is that combat cocktail. Here's your antidepressants, here's your opiates for your pain, and then wash it down with some alcohol, and that's how we're treating PTSD right now. So something had to change, and I think that it was just overwhelming support for the program. First off, I mean, the Paul Simon poll was at 83%, so it keeps going up. But with PTSD, it's just really the right thing to do. I mean, it was something that needed to be added to the program.
And something else that changes with this program, with this new legislation, is the way that doctors and patients interact. The doctor doesn't have to recommend medical marijuana anymore, and that's a kind of a game changer when it comes to access.
It is, for sure. The intent in the law originally was that doctors just certify the patient has a condition, which is the way it's being amended to. The recommendation language that was added later on was not the intent. So a lot of doctors refused to do this, or a lot of doctors' groups would not recommend, but they'll certify. They'll certify that you have a condition that's listed, but they don't have enough information, or they don't feel they have enough information or experience with cannabis to give a reason why they recommend it.
And that seems to be the very consistent theme when it comes to medical marijuana because of the way the drug marijuana itself is scheduled in the United States versus what researchers are able to do around the world.
That might change here. June 29th, the DEA is supposed to release potentially a rescheduling. We don't know if it'll go to Schedule 2 or Schedule 3 or not be rescheduled at all, but there will be a decision by the middle of the year.
It seems like at least there's a lot of momentum as states across the country continue to not just embrace medical marijuana, but marijuana legalization.
Well, I mean, as far as the schedule change goes, I mean, a Schedule 1 drug by definition has no medicinal value at all. That's obviously not true with cannabis, so it definitely needs to be rescheduled. It's just what schedule do they move it to? But it will be a game changer for the industry. It'll change a lot of things on the banking side, just all across the spectrum.
Well, and one of the things that, at least in terms of rescheduling, if in fact that happens in terms of research and studies, Revolution has done a study of its patient, or its marijuana that's gone to medical marijuana to its patients. What does this mean now that you're adding ailments? Is there another study in the works, at least maybe ahead of rescheduling, and then who knows what happens if that in fact changes? For sure. We're working on the second study right now. It's going to be more targeted. We're going to have obviously more patients now to study. The first study we only did, we did a very short window. It was only like 30 days. We're going to extend the window to get a lot more data. But the data that we got in the first study was invaluable. I mean, what it did tell us, I think I mentioned last time there, is what we already know, is that cannabis works unbelievably well for pain, for the treatment of pain. And we have an opiate addiction epidemic in this country, and a lot of it's you know, it's easily solved. It's not easily solved, but it's easily reduced, like states of Colorado, Washington, Oregon, that see a 25% reduction in opiate abuse, addiction, overdoses, all of those, if you can use cannabis to treat pain. All right. Well, thank you guys very much for sitting in and talking about this new medical marijuana legislation that has yet to be signed by the governor, but we anticipate it's going to happen. Yeah, it was agreed to by the administration, so we stand by. All right, Thomas Wolf, a Marine Corps veteran, Tim McGraw, the CEO of Revolution Enterprises. Up next,